That is exactly what I was saying. I was like, nope, nope, that was the wrong button. I didn't mean to hit that yet. I was trying to prep things. Like trying to get the wheel ready. I was putting the sticker designs on the wheel so I didn't have to try to decide what order to draw them in. Having technical problems. Stupid wheel. I was like, oh no. The wheel doesn't want to work. Being a pain in the butt. Try one more. Interact. Open. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I'm here now. I'm actually here. I'm here. My captions are back. I moved the currently drawing to the top of the screen because my captions are back. I'll probably work on going around with the wheel. Yes. Yes. That's excellent. That's good. That's a good joke. Apparently if I had just closed OBS and reopened it the other day, it would have fixed the captions. I apparently opened OBS in a way that didn't load any of my plugins. So that's what was going on there. So yeah, how you doing tonight? You have a good week? Are you ready to chill into a nice weekend of partying like a rock star? It's weird for me. I don't have to do anything tomorrow. Like there is nothing on my to do on Saturday. So I guess I'll draw a picture is what I'll do tomorrow. Draw a few pictures. The other thing I'm gonna do is I most definitely do not want this to be a square image. These are not gonna be square stickers. What size were garbage is? I'm gonna look up and see what size they were. So like a reindeer rock star. That's right. They are playing card size. It just says playing card size. Sticker trading cards. Produced by Topps. So they're the same size as a Topps baseball card. What are the dimensions on a Topps baseball card? 3x4-ish. That's what I'm assuming, but I'm not 100% sure. 2.5 by 3.5. Since 1957. Apparently, this is not a straightforward answer. Apparently, different time periods have different baseball card sizes. That's interesting to me. But 2.5 by 3.5, so not quite 2 by 3, which is a pretty standard size. That's your 4 by 6s, your 24 by 36, your poster sizes, or your postcard sizes. Those are sizes I already have, obviously. 2.5 by 3. Also, not like a standard, like business card size or anything like that. So 1981 to 1994. That's the time period we're looking at here. So yeah, it looks like 2.5 by 3.5 is the right size we're looking at. We're looking at 2.5 by 3.5. So that means we're go. If I start with a good 2500 by 3500 ratio, and then make this as big as I can. 5,000 by 7,000. Okay, I can use my 5,000 by 7,000. I can use this. That's a 5 by 7. Same aspect ratio as a 5 by 7, which is a greeting card, which means I do have a template for that. So there we go. That's good to know. That's a good aspect ratio to have handy. Are you gonna turn back on yet, wheel? No, but it's being a butt. So I guess we won't have the wheel, which is okay. All I was gonna do was use the wheel to decide what order I was gonna draw the stickers in. We already know what stickers we're gonna draw. We're gonna draw a hippo that's going to nursing school. We're going to draw a platypus that is learning a musical instrument, a kangaroo learning to ballroom dance, a Gila monster becoming an accountant, and a meerkat going to the gym. And I don't particularly have any particular order I care to do them in. That's why I was going to do the wheel. I was going to use the wheel to offload my brain to a third party. So that was the plan. Oh, hang on. Did I fix it? Did I fix it? I might have fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it. I'm the best. I probably need to update the visuals on the wheel also. Because right now it's Christmas colored. And Christmas is over. It's time for the next holiday to come around, which is most definitely Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day in the world of design. St. Patrick's Day actually should already have my Valentine's Day stuff done. I got some because I did it last year. Anyway, let's draw a sticker. Let's figure out. I forgot that I had it playing. But Meerkat goes to the gym. We're gonna do the Meerkat first, which is interesting because it's the one that I put in the CTA image. So I'm gonna grab some Meerkat reference photos. And here's my plan. I want to do these like Garbage Pail Kids cards, where there's kind of like a whole kiss cut sticker card thing. That's the idea. And that's why I went and got this big old 5,000 by 7,000 canvas. So like the idea would be that we come in here and we'll start with like something like where we do a frame. So very similar to how we've done some things in the past. We did our high school kids go to our Eldridge Breakfast Club was done in a frame. The aliens in the ocean are done in a framework. So that's the idea, is to do kind of framey thing. I've pulled up some actual Garbage Pail Kids cards. So we will start with kind of trying to follow that function, that framework. So all of them have just a square rectangular white border. So we'll start by sketching in like a border we can use here. Meerkats look judgy. They do. Little jerks. They're always trying to convince lions not to eat them. Timon was a meerkat, right? Like that's, I'm not making that up. And then they all have a little nameplate. Oops. Nameplate down here. And the Garbage Pail Kids thing is on an arch up above. I'm going to do that separate because what I'll do there is I will do that as its own thing and have that as its own file and add it in later. But then, so basically, what we have is these little 2.5 by 3.5, I guess, posters with a Kiss Cut sticker on them. I always thought it was really cool. I don't know why they stopped doing these cool trading card sticker things. I think these trading card stickers were an awesome idea, and I loves them. I loves them a lot. I think we should bring it back. I'm gonna see if I can find a manufacturer that do trading card stickers. That's just a sticker that's on cardstock. Also, I learned today from looking up Meerkat images earlier. Meerkat are members of the mongoose family. So that's a thing that's worth noting. So this layer is now just going to be locked. We're going to keep this locked. I just want to have something I can reference for all of the sketching and everything. I would definitely want to like reduce the intensity before I look it. But that's the idea here, is just to have something so I know where the elements are going to be on the thing. So let's start with let's start with a meerkat drawing. So we're gonna have this layer. Little, you know, their heads are kind of here, and then little that. How do I want to doodle this? I gotta figure. Sometimes this is a new critter for me. I gotta figure out how I want to start shaping the body. So, I definitely let's do a pose first. Let's start with our pose. So I think I'm gonna have like I'm so strong but also very weak looking pose. Like it's aspirational, right? So we'll go with a like little block of head here. Very well drawn block, Matt. Block in a little head. And also a little tiny skinny body. Like we were talking a tiny skinny little mouse dude. Like so. And also little hips is where we would go from there. Also like here, there. Pull out. Wow. So they look like they have short arms. I don't know. The ones I'm looking at look like they have really freakishly long arms. Like, because their shoulder is up here and then it hangs down like this and then it comes off like that. I wonder if I can pull up a meerkat sketch. See, here's the thing with the mirror. The wheel is on the screen. Oh! Okay. I got excited. I was looking at meerkat images. So basically, I'm going to do a little like this action here. Actually, you know what? Seriously, like, we know what our primary influence on a meerkat cartoon. Little munchkin-y faces. I like the idea. I was kind of doing a blocky character in, you know, blocking it in, real basic. Wait, I like the way I did this side. This one needs to come around like this. There we go. And then they have little round ears. Like so. Let's curl this. Pointy nose. They have pointy nose. I want a sharp, pointy nose. That's the goal. That's the goal. I was looking at meerkats too, or I would have noticed sooner. They're cute. It's hard to look away, right? It's hard to look away from meerkats. And then I think we're gonna go with a pretty basic lifter pose. Look at me flex. Actually, I'm gonna definitely make sure I've got those arms curled in for that like thing where if you curl your wrist in and it shows off the muscle more. So that's what's gonna go there. And then let's look at a tail. I get a picture with a tail. Show it. Long, scraggly tail. Hangs down. Kind of like a kangaroo's tail does a little bit. Drags on the ground behind them, it looks like. They like to drag their tail when they're standing. Yeah. This. And then they have big, giant. These guys have giant rabbit feet. I had no idea. I had no idea they had big, giant, honking rabbit bunny feet. Type feet. I feel like Disney did not prepare me for that. I could be wrong though. I don't really remember Timon's design. Actually, I'm kind of looking at Timon's design, and he definitely had little big old honking feet. So Disney did prepare me for that. I'm just wasn't paying attention to the Lion King. Hard to look away even though they stare right through you. That's what makes it hard to look away. The harder they stare through you, the more inside your soul they get. And of course, go to the gym, so we gotta give them some gym shorts and a little tank top. So that's gonna be my real rough sketch, my little pose sketch with just some blocking in to give myself some angles to work on. This is just a thing that I picked up doing the squares. I'm still working my way through my draw boxes. So I'm gonna go a little like nose active here. Do they have little? Can I get a close up picture? I know there is one. I was like, I don't think they have little buck teeth like so many rodents do. Looks like they do, but they do have little natural. That that there's more Sonic the Hedgehog influence here probably than Disney. If I'm being completely honest with the way I just drew this face. If I gave him a single eye, like single Sonic eye. I was just noticing the big feet too, but on a specific pose of one, he's totally chilling, leaning back on his elbow like a person. It's so cute. I think I was looking at the same picture. That I saw that picture, and then literally one laying on his back, like flat out with both feet up in the air, just being giant honking feet. Little guys. They're such little guys. That's the voice I use when I'm talking to Josie. She's such a little puppy. bring this back a little because I definitely sketched face. Rough here, but it needs to be shape there in the other eye. I'm not liking this right now. This is not looking the way I want. I really like the way this little muzzle thing has come out. Like, that is not the problem I'm having here. It's more like I'm having trouble with the facial structure around the muzzle. This is why we do sketches, though. It's you sketch before you do, like, you just rough stuff in, and then you know what you're doing. You like know where you're trying to get to. Okay, there we go. I think that's a little better. You know what? I think the problem here is, oh, cool. This head, I rounded it up too much. And they've got little flat domes. I don't know. I'm gonna try starting over. When in doubt, just delete your art. It's fine. Let's work eyes forward. I'm having trouble with the eyes. Let's work eyes forward. So go like that. I think it's the note of like, okay, taking a moment, resetting my brain, and thinking, I've drawn a lot of rodents. I've drawn so many rodents. Y'all, I've drawn a ton of capybara. And what are capybara? They're giant rodents. And what are meerkats? They're normal sized rodents. I know how to draw. I know how to draw this. We just need to establish the center line of the face coming around like this. Just all the way down the body. Hey, that's where my problem was. Because I wasn't thinking in the right dimensionality. So we've got a little nose. Like, right, little meerkat nose. You're basically a little nose, just like else. Well, they have a shape that will make it easier to discern when they color it. Longer, more slender rodents. Yeah, well, they're still rodents. Yeah, but that's, there's little rodents. And then the head is a little more smushed. And come on, load picture. Dag nabbit. That. This. Look. There we go. It's that center line is what I was really missing. Really had my face back. Another little hair coming out that side of the head. There we go. And now you kind of shrink that. I want to shrink both. Here. I want them to be taller and skinnier. That. This. Down again. There. That, I think that helps. I think that is where I was struggling. Was the center line. Really having a hard time going, where is this thing's head? Face supposed to be looking. That was where I was. Also, part of the problem with like a lot of animals when you're trying to make them humanoid is that their necks are like the same width as their head. Of course, humans are too. Like your neck is actually pretty closely aligned to the size of your head. I just, as an artist, I as a cartoonist, I overemphasize certain. Now I can come like that. That neck is probably longer than I am. I'm gonna shrink it down and then pull that head down here. And then just to avoid confusing myself in the future, we'll erase the head from the back of the sketch. So we'll start there and then we'll come over here. I know I want little skinny body. That's what I really want. Little skinny. We're wearing a tank top. So I'm gonna have that neck line come all the way down. So now I can look at tank top line. Really put that in. It'll give me kind of the basis what I'm trying to look for here. I try to always here's the thing about me is I try to build my art like reverse sculpting, like additive sculpting. Like I try to build a base before I draw anything on top of it. And sometimes when you're cartooning, like the thing you're doing just doesn't have a realism to it at all. So you have to just give up on that and just be like, I'm just going to draw on the freaking shirt first instead of trying to draw on the body. I'll draw the parts that I need to draw. And then little tiny arms. And I think I'm going to go classic elbow fur tufts. Elbow fur tufts. Taking it up, talking about Garbage Pail Kids reminds me of another unique toy from back in the day. Based on my generalized search, I think it was called Mad Balls. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm familiar with those. I don't. That doesn't sound familiar. But that being said, I didn't have a lot of toys of my own. I'm pretty hand me down based as a third child, middle child. How many fingers do you have, Mr. Meerkat? Meerkat. Ah. One of the recommended. Hello, how's it going? How are you having a good night? One of the recommended categories on the my Meerkat image search was Meerkat muscular. It knows. It knows what we're drawing. Come on, intronet. Give me a picture of a meerkat paw. I'm worried that they have more than 3 fingers. More than 4 fingers. I only gave them 4 fingers. It's important to me that I know how many digits all of these rodents have. 1, 2, 3, 4. They do only have 4 little fingers. That's good. I'm awesome. I did it right. Four little clawed fingers. And they do have little clawed fingers. They actually have really long fingernail claws. They were dense foam ball and they had monsters' faces. I do remember those. Yeah, I do remember those. They were like kind of like Nerf balls, but kind of like hard, like extruded foam rubber rather than like Nerfy foam rubber. I still think that maybe this head is too big. It's possible this head is too big. It's definitely the right shape now. There we go. That's the right size. That's the size we're looking for there. We can bring this neck back down. Big feet. So tonight we learned that meerkats have big giant rabbit feet. Even though they're mongoose. They're mongooses. Meerkats are members of the mongoose family with big giant rabbit feet. Now everything, the proportions are off again somehow. The bottom half of this meerkat is way bigger than the top half. So we're just going to resize some stuff here. I think, again, longer. A little more stretched there. Trying to find an image of mine. I want to say he was called Booger Ball or Snot Ball, but I can't seem to lock onto a familiar face. They're crazy though. I love them. I think one of the problems might be that there were just so many different types. Like if memory serves me, there are like hundreds of those dudes. And then you know what else I'm gonna do? This face has actually finally got the right proportions to it. The right shaping structure to it. I want to make it pointy. So that's gonna be fun to figure out how pointy. Pointier face for the mirror. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. Just like pointy meerkats. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna come in and on these cheeks, I've got the right shape. I'm gonna fluffy them up a little bit. Fluffier cheeks there. Little cheeky fluffy cheek action. Might be a little too round. Yeah. Hook that here, back there, draw that back in. And then because he wants to go to he hasn't gone to the gym yet. He's setting his New Year's resolution. We'll make this shirt and shorts really baggy. to imply that he's very tiny, little skinny dude. So we'll just like bring in and make this a really baggy tank top here. Wait. Don't want to over exaggerate because then it loses its charm. You can definitely exaggerate some. And bring this back up here. Oh. I don't know. I don't know how to draw shorts that look baggy. Like they'd have to be hanging off the waist, I think. So they'd have to be cinched at the waist. So what we would do is imply that there's an excess of volume at the waistline. The way I would do that would be to have a point here where it's tied off and then flare everything out around. That's how I would have to. Little something like that. I saw a Reddit thread that mentioned the horror figures of our childhood too. I guess they made a series that had Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, Predator, Facehugger. Yes, they made a lot of cool collectible action figures. Although a lot of those collectible action figures for 80s icons were actually made in the 90s. A lot of them were made by McFarlane Toys. And Paramount actually owns a ton of those, or did at one point own a ton of those. I think Madballs should come back. I think a lot of cool toys from that period should come back. I feel like just in general, like we got away from making a lot of really cool toys because we went all in on gadgets and gizmos aplenty. And I'm a tech geek, so like, don't get me wrong, I love my electronics, but I feel like that's a big part of what happened in the toy world. Like the toy world stopped investing in making cool toys because they were like, we'll just put electronics in everything. And I think we had similar things happen in other places too. Like for a long time, every board game had some kind of electronic gimmick, and that's going away. We're starting to see a resurgence in really cool board games. Definitely, like, not that the board gaming community never went anywhere, but like mainstream super cool board games are starting to make a comeback. There's a big backlash in general against digital stuff, especially amongst younger people. So I think there's a good chance that we're going to see some of this stuff or some new variation of it making a comeback. Especially because, like, a lot of the to be completely honest, a lot of the reasons a lot of cool stuff from the 80s went away was because they couldn't sell us crap anymore. So like part of the thing that killed Saturday morning cartoons was that they couldn't use cartoons as just commercials anymore. And without being able to get that merch money in there to recoup the loss of doing cartoons, because cartoons are expensive, it wasn't worth doing any kind of Saturday morning cartoons. So those kind of went away. Or they got imported from Japan for a long time. And then even those got too expensive to really keep going. And a lot of those regulations don't necessarily apply to the streaming services, just because of the nature of the loopholes of the law. So some of that stuff will come back. Battleship. Not a full-on board game, but always fun. Battleship is a board game. Yeah, I think like board game is a more is a broader term than I think a lot of people realize. Let's see, what other kind of weird color stripes here kitties? That's pretty much it. They have dark circles around their eyes, and some of them have dark circles on their dark toes and fingers. But that's about it. That's about all the dark ears. Their ears are dark also. Other than that, they're pretty uniform in color. Just sketch that in. Looks like actually they have some like shape to their eye patterns. Okay, this is my meerkat who's getting ready to go to the gym. I think one thing here. No, I like it this way. Meerkats are very long creatures, so I'm like his body is not proportionally correct, but I like it this way. The amount of cereal commercials when cartoons were on was insane. Yes, that was the whole point. Cartoons, especially children's cartoons, were there to sell us stuff. Saturday morning cartoon was you had to make money. Had to make that money. And long before streaming put the death knell in broadcast children's television, that you can't make money off of kids anymore thing. And it's the same. I mean, we go through the same thing on the new platforms. So like the ad, what they called the adpocalypse a few years back on YouTube. They have some straps in their back, but that isn't relevant with this pose. That's true. What they called the adpocalypse on YouTube was heavily related also to the fact that YouTube was gathering information on children to sell ads to make money off of kids. And COPPA, the Children's Online Protection Online Privacy and Protection, was designed to stop that. And that's what YouTube got hit with a COPPA violation. And that was what caused the adpocalypse, because they had to stop collecting that valuable, precious ad revenue data off of people under 13. And, you know, the vast majority of YouTube users are under 13. You know what? I think I'm going to do this coming down into the... And then that is just the chin. Over. Big loopy ears. Big doopy face. And honestly, I think I don't need... Oops. Okay. I might have screwed up in doing something there. I know what I did. I filled in that eye. And that turned this all from line shapes into one solid shape as far as the program is concerned. I'm gonna do all of that dark, the darkened fur parts just as part of the color layer. But I've decided I'm not gonna do a line art for it. But yeah, it's funny to me. You'll never take me alive, Kappas. Right. It's funny to me that we just kind of keep having the same conversation with this stuff over and over again. Just the way the world is. Of course, soon we'll be putting those kids back to work in the salt mines. They'll be able to buy their own damn toys. Get their own advertising. And we'll just roll back all those regulations pretty soon, I'm sure. Things shouldn't exist if the tech billionaires can't exploit it for capital gains. My hand is a little slidey. I might be about ready to get a new screen cover for my iPad. This one is every bit of 6 months at least old. And that is the screen protector, the screen sheet I use, is what gives it the feel, the paper feel that makes it easier to draw on. And mine has been getting pretty smooth lately. And I don't like that. I like having some tooth, some bite to my paper when I'm drawing. So I'm probably ready to replace it. Fortunately, I think I only spent like 10 or 11 bucks total on this screen protector for this one that I'm using. It was not very expensive at all. It's there's a brand that is called Paperlight that people love and costs an arm and a leg to get your hands on. And this one that I'm using is like a knockoff third party brand, like cheap brand, that has reviews that are like, this is better than Paperlight. And I've never used a Paperlight, so I couldn't tell you if it's better, but it is great. And like I said, I've had it for almost a year and have never replaced it. So I can recommend it fully. That's what I should do. I have an Amazon storefront as a person who has been chronically online for more years than most of the people who watch my or who collect my work have been alive. I've been on the internet for longer than most of the people at the holiday market have been alive. I have an Amazon affiliate. They call it influencer storefront now. It's an affiliate storefront. I should add this screen protector to it. It has like my pencil cover and my exact iPad that I use and all that stuff, all that good stuff on there already. Baggy shorts. I think you. This is something I was working on. I'm working on a project with my daily zombie. Basically, it's just you saying an arm and a leg reminded me of a college friend that was punnier than me, at least back then. uh there's a thing that artists do, especially cartoonists, where every once in a while we are like almost required by law to draw characters in multiple animation styles. And I decided to go ahead and finish out my 365 days of zombie by doing the daily zombie in a bunch of different animation styles. And I was working on a Klasky Shupo inspired zombie today. Goes up in the morning. And the way Klasky Shupo does like cinching on things really, I think, what helps here. Basically, this pattern I just did here is what they do, and I think that was what I needed. So sometimes it's serendipity, because the thing you need, the thing you need to be able to finish up what you're working on, the skill you need in the moment is what you learn today. Like literally, I was working on a thing earlier today and went, "Hey, this is gonna be useful right now. This thing that I learned, this thing I studied." That's why you do the challenges. You do math. They're basically master studies. He would say, "Man, I would give my right arm to be ambidextrous." Oh, that's yeah. I don't know if I consider that a pun so much as just a bad joke. That yeah. And it's one of those things, like in the art world, they call them master studies, where you like literally take something like a let's say a Da Vinci, the Mona Lisa. Like we'll use the Mona Lisa as an example, and you study how the master did what techniques they used. You try to figure out and recreate their techniques, so you can understand how do you do that in your own art. And it's weird to me that there's so much hate in the art community for fan art, when really fan art is just doing that. It's a master study of modern masters, of the people whose work actually influences you. Like, I'm never gonna paint. I'm not a painter. I don't need to know all of the techniques that Da Vinci used to render a painting, although I should still study it because it's probably good information. Maybe one day I will decide to become a painter. But learning how Klasky Shupo uses certain kind of broken lines to imply structure is way more valuable for me as an illustrator. The problem I run into now is with time, Les seems to know what ambidextrous means. That is definitely a thing I've been observing. Is I do think, and this is probably just because when I was younger, the people I hung out with were more likely to be the type of people who had bigger vocabulary. But I do feel like vocabularies are going downhill a bit, like getting smaller. But again, it could just be the people I spend time with now are not as developed in their vocabulary as they were when I was people I spent time with when I was younger. And note, I would like to go on record as saying that was not me saying the people I spend time with now are not as smart as the people I spent time with when I was younger or were. Just have smaller vernaculars. Actually, I'm not even gonna say necessarily a smaller vocabulary, the smaller vernacular. And the very subtle difference between those two things is something I feel like is being lost these days. And I blame nothing in particular, actually. Languages evolve. I'm pretty sure that if you ask someone for the 1800s, they'd be like, "Man, people your age, Matt, don't know how to use words anymore." Because anytime you listen to like one of those PBS specials and they're like reading old soldier letters, these are like, "I had a third grade education, but I am the most eloquent writer on the planet." just different things get prioritized in our society. And again, I feel like that's one of those things that's going to change or is changing. Because when I was younger, like STEM was really the thing that was being pushed all the time. Everyone needed a STEM career, probably in computers. And if it wasn't a STEM career in computers, it wasn't worth having. I don't like the way I did this tail. It looks too much like other types of anatomy. What if I was? What if we go like pull a Timon and give him like coming off raised up? None of the meerkats I was looking at in any of the pictures had their tails raised up. But it doesn't look good just laying there on the ground. So now I understand why Disney did that. Like that. In which case we can then come down. They also have stripes on their tail. Okay. So here's our line art for our meerkat. Going to the gym. We should add some accoutrement. Although, okay, here is the thing. I pulled up these garbage pail stickers. And in my head, like these were really like robust, deep, dense art pieces with a lot of background detail, things like that. And a lot of the ones I'm looking at right now, like they're not. Like there's not nearly as much to the card as I thought there was. People just speak differently these days. That's why older generations always say, "I can't understand what these kids are saying these days." Well, and that's kind of the point of slang, right? Is to specifically go out and create new ways of saying things, so that you like the authority figures don't know what you're saying. Like that's the whole premise behind creating new slang. Uh, that being said, a lot of the slang that gets made fun of these days, like the Gen Alpha slang, is 100% super evolved from millennial slang. Like, there's nothing new here. I mean, sure, there's some nonsense slang, but every generation has nonsense slang. I saw a meme the other day that was like, when I was young, we weren't able to share memes on social media. We just had to go to school and shout Chappelle Show quotes at each other. And I was like, that is basically, I see people complain about stuff like Skibbity Toilet. And I'm like, Skibbity Toilet is just Gen Alpha's version of like, cocaine is a hell of a drug. You know, like it's the exact same thing. Anyway, Garbage Pail Kids cards, not nearly as intricately detailed as I was remembering them being. They're all based like have a very simple flat color background, probably maybe a gradient, and maybe some extra different things. Slang makes me sad because it makes me feel old. I'm too old now, right? You just always remember that you've got good old Urban Dictionary to help you stay young and hip. All right. So I'm going to add. How about a kettlebell? Think this meerkat is swinging a kettlebell? I'm going to put it draw on a different layer so I don't have to worry about like, lining it up perfectly. I can readjust it. Kettlebell for the meerkat. I have a kettlebell. I haven't swung it in a long time. I haven't actually swung my kettlebell since I tore my meniscus doing the Cabbage Patch. What's a good weight for this meerkat's kettlebell? someone my size would do like 20 kilograms, like 50 pounds. I mean, if you were really going to the gym, so I'm gonna do like 2 grams. They're just little. A little 2-gram kettlebell right there. That's his little kettlebell. Put it over here behind him. That'll look good there. I'll just go ahead and merge these 2 layers together. Once I clean them up. There we go. 2-gram kettlebell. What else should he have? Maybe we'll do like a little jump rope action. I say action a lot. If you ever want to become very self-conscious of your weird vocal tics, start streaming. And then also edit your streams. Go in and watch your own streams. Because then you'll start to notice the things that you do constantly. And they're the type of things that if you become famous and someone parodies you, that's what they're gonna put in their video. It was this summer there was a big, I guess it's not even this summer, this fall, not that long ago. There was a big kerfuffle in the art community on like YouTube because a graphic designer kind of called out the art community for being a little bit of a scam. Like, kind of called out some of the big name art YouTubers for being like, you're not a full-time artist, you're a YouTuber. And you're selling false promises about how much money you can make as an artist online when none of your income comes from art. And of course, the art community of those people reacted poorly. In my opinion, like the worst possible way they could have reacted. And one of them like hyper criticized the video. And part of the criticism was that Morg, the artist who put the video together, did a parody of one of the other artists, and it involved a mannerism that artist possesses. And they were like, the person doing the criticism was like, you made fun of this person's physical mannerisms. And I was like, that's how parody works, yo. Like, when you start making $1 million because of you're famous on the internet, you got to be expecting that. I'm like, have you ever watched a single episode of Saturday Night Live? That's all that show does. It's recognizable behavior. And the thing that was being made fun of, the creator, who has since kind of acknowledged that it is unintentionally misleading to say things like how much money I make as a full-time artist when she's a content creator. One of the things she did in her video is she pointed out, she has said, you're right, I'm going to change my titles to say as an art YouTuber, as a content creator who makes content about art. Because it is a very minor amount of my money comes from. She adjusts her glasses fairly regularly as just as a mannerism that she possesses. And it's something that is so like distinctly her that it's in her thumbnails. So like criticizing this person for doing that as playing a parody of her is kind of bad faith arguing. If you think Garbage Pail Kids cards are too simple, I see the more plain backgrounds and some, but still lots of detail in the characters. Yes, it is. It's all in the character design, and it's really cool the way this is such a good art form. So not my art style, but definitely something I can work towards emulate. Because these are all, I'm looking at this art and going, these are all painted. These are all like old school comic painting style inks. If I'm parodied, I'm flattered for sure. That's how I feel. I'm like, someone's gonna parody me. They're gonna say my things that I say all the time. It'll be fine. They'll probably scratch their beard and their nose a lot. I get itchy. I touch my face a lot. I'm a face toucher. All right. So, meerkats are kind of light gray. They're like a light gray tint. So we'll start with that as kind of a base color. Oh no! You dang leg. How dare you not be connected properly? There we go. Yeah, you're connected properly. Oops. I don't want that leg to be filled in with black. We're going to start with this kind of a lightish gray tan. I would collect the Garbage Pail Kids and the Mad Balls. Well, I can tell you from doing a very simple Garbage Pail Kids search that apparently there are a ton of them on eBay. I'm going to take the same color, go much darker and much more saturated with it. So it's a more rich brown. And then we will do the little eye masking bits. I should do this up over the C. I'm just going to kind of scrungle this line here. Give a little furry scrungle impression. Scrungle is a very technical term. Everyone knows that the term scrungle means. I would like to collect a lot of things, but I know that my personal behavior patterns, collection would just become hoarding. And also, you gotta have money for that. That is expensive. Collecting is expensive. There, and then the little finger claws get painted in. Painted in the finger claws. Do-do-do. Painting in the finger claws. How about you? Do-do-do-do-do. Finger claw. Do-do-do. Meerkat. Go over here and do the same. These finger claws. Toe clawed. Ah, that's why. Come on. Bonk. There. Hey, Paramin, how's it going? Same on the hoarding. That's why I'm glad they're not on the normal store shelves currently. We are drawing a little meerkat who's getting. I didn't update the drawing thing. I suck. A meerkat going to the gym. Oh man, I am really behind. Sent that message. It almost took 2 minutes to show up on stream. Sorry about that. Okay. Too many things done on the wrong way. Go. Bring tail in. So the idea, if you're new in the stream, you haven't been here before, Repairman, and you weren't here on Monday or Wednesday. The idea of what we're doing is we are drawing animal New Year's resolutions. Not your fault. I reloaded now. It's only about 20 seconds late. Oh, that's good. Animal New Year resolutions. But the idea isn't just doing animal New Year's resolutions. The idea is to do animals New Year's resolutions as collectible sticker cards like Garbage Pail Kids. So on Monday, we brainstormed everything out and picked our animals and their resolutions. So all of that work is done. So all we're doing today is we're just working on the specific animals for the specific sticker. And kind of reminiscing about so you need great boat names. Yes, definitely. Kind of just reminiscing about in general about cool old toys like you do. His name is definitely not Timon, although I learned when I was younger by going to the Kansas City Zoo where they have the Swahili names of all the animals on the placards that the reason Timon is named Timon in the movie is Timon is just Swahili for meerkat. I almost missed it tonight too. I fell asleep in a recliner watching Bones. Yeah, Bones can be that boring sometimes. Oh, I like Bones. I like police procedurals. I like a good propaganda show. I love a Holmesian detective show. Really, I like any show where you get to have a hero who's a hero because they're smarter than everyone else. That's just how I flow. That's how I am. I think I'm gonna do red shorts. No, I did red on the handles of the yellow shorts. I hadn't actually thought about their names. It would definitely be fun. That's yes. We need to do brainstorm names. Good names. That was on my to-do list before these went out. I was definitely going to come up with some like clever names. I was like, no bones about it. Oh, take a drink. I was like, for the meerkat, I was like, he's the gym rat meerkat, but that doesn't work because he's a meerkat, not a gym rat. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Bird? Oh wait, I'm not ready to shadow this guy yet. Their ears, their little ears also have dark fur. Get that little scrungle going. All right, so I think that's my flats. That's my flats colors on these guys. Ah. I definitely feel like I could if I spent many hours on each individual sticker, way more than I normally do. I could probably do some full on Garbage Pail Kid inspired style. That's not my normal style, and it would take me a lot longer to work it. And if doing this OC in multiple styles challenge thing I've been doing has taught me anything, it's that even when a style is adjacent to yours, like obviously the Klasky Shupo is very heavily influential to me, but even when that style is adjacent to yours, when you're trying to mimic someone else's style completely, it gets real slow. It's a lot of work for me. Skill though that if you want to be a professional cartoonist, I probably need to see. If we were doing Garbage Pail Kids, he'd be like training Timon with a color variant that was like Workout Wally. Yeah. And that's kind of the idea we would like to have behind our naming conventions, right? Workout Wally, I think, is our number one contender at the moment. My problem also, like, as a person who, if you're wanting me to actually like draw Garbage Pail Kids cards, I don't do gross out art, and Garbage Pail Kids are all about the gross out art, and that's just not how I think when I'm drawing. I am definitely a cute, simplified cartoon illustration kind of. Probably mostly because I like, and again, it's really, this is the Garbage Pail Kids cards are classically inked, like painted art, and I am 100% a vector artist. And so a lot of techniques don't lend themselves well to my style. My style doesn't lend itself well to techniques. I need to practice more outside of my wheelhouse. That's really what it comes down to. Need more hours in the day. I need about 30 to 40 hours a day to be able to do all the things I want to be able to do. Because I would really like to be able to practice some different, develop some new skills, hone in on the things of the map. The gross is what reminded me of the Mad Balls. Yeah, similar feel, although I don't think the Mad Balls were so much gross as just like weird. Like the Mad Balls are closer to what I would do. Like they're just weird little faces. I remember giant nostrils, big teeth, and googly eyes mostly. I'm also going to desaturate this shade color. I have decided to desaturate shade color. It looks better already. It definitely looks better desaturated. But very much that neon slime. And this again, a couple of the Mad Balls were gross, but certainly not all of them, right? They were more like goofy, weird, oddball. But that's the love of the neon ooze aesthetic, which is generally considered more of a 90s aesthetic, but really Garbage Pail Kids and Mad Balls, which I think are both, I mean, I know Garbage Pail Kids are an 80s icon. I think Mad Balls might be late 80s, early 90s crossover. But they both definitely fall into that neon ooze aesthetic style. And I love the Neon Ooze color scheme. That like very saturated pinky purple, bright neon day, like glowing green, the color they call mad green. Wally here isn't merely working out, he's changing his life one day at a time. That's right. They're motivational in nature. Lead the stampede. I'm not at all shocked you don't do gross out. I know how you feel about body horror, and a lot of what was really just cartoony body horror. Right? That's kind of it is like pushing the limit for me on what I can do as far as the world of body horror. Although again, I want to be very specific. Realistic body horror bothers. That's where I really can't stand it. I'm usually okay with something a little more Cronenbergy, or just way over the top. Like, I am way better off with blood geysers. I don't like horror. I'm just throwing this. I don't like physical horror at all. It's not my jam. But like, what really, really gets to me is realism in that physical horror. But like, honestly, trauma films don't bother me nearly that much. Wow, Mad Balls were earlier than I expected. They first appeared in 1985. That's earlier than I expected too, because I feel like I remember them from like elementary school, like 4th, 5th grade. And for me, that would have been like 93, 94, I would think. Early 90s. But they could have been around a lot longer than we're giving them credit for too, I guess. You know, some toys don't die out nearly as fast as they do these days. We had longer toy attention spans back then too, in addition to our larger vernaculars. And Dave Chappelle based humor slang. Yeah, I would have put um Mad Balls more as like contemporaries of like creepy crawlers. And if you aren't familiar with the Creepy Crawlers series, the Creepy Crawlers were basically a toy company going, okay, we've branded these as these like cooking toys as girl toys for a really long time. How do we sell a no bake oven to a boy? Well, we give them little cupcake molds that are shaped like rats, or we sell them these cooking toys, but they make bugs. That was the Creepy Crawlers cooking the line. Very similar to the Mighty Max toys, were just Polly Pockets for boys. Looks like they made them for about 5 years, but they were probably in stores for 7 to 8 before they really completely disappeared. They were re-released in the early 2000s. And now my pun is lost to the chat scroll. Lol. Did you seriously breeze over my pun just like that? What? Is it mere... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't catch it the first time. He isn't merely working out. He's changing his life. What's really funny is that creepy crawlers have been around since 1965. That can't be true. Creepy crawlers didn't exist before the 90s. that is crazy to me. I would have bet my farm on saying that creepy crawlers came into existence in the 90s. I would never have guessed that they got their start in the 60s. That is crazy to me. So Perriman, one of the things we were talking about, one of the classic toys we were talking about earlier was the like horror action figures. And I was thinking with those also, I was like, you would be the one that would know this fully. I was thinking for those that most of those were also more like 90s, and a lot of them were like 80s Gen X icons, but they were released by McFarlane Toys. So I was thinking they were more like 90s than 80s, even though they were 80s characters. But you would be the one I would ask if I like had to phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire about that particular subject. You know your collectible horror monsters better than I. Was there a series of like horror movie action figures in the 80s available in the 80s? There very well could have been. I wouldn't know. I'm no like I don't know a lot about 80s toys because any toy I got in the 80s was probably a hand-me-down. And it was probably 10 years old. So it was probably a 70s toy. I didn't really have my own toys for most of the 80s. And then honestly, by the time the hand-me-downs stopped, I was fully embraced in the digital world. Yeah, if you were talking about the McFarlane Toys versions of the Horror Monsters collectibles, those were the late 90s. I actually have the McFarlane Pumpkinhead. I was actually saying the Mad Balls had version of the horror figures, not just traditional action. Oh! Oh! I didn't... Okay. I didn't know that. It makes sense that they would have. Totally makes sense that they would have had classic horror monsters as Mad Balls, but I didn't... I was carrying on too many conversations. Yes, there were definitely horror movie figures in the 80s, particularly Freddy Krueger sold a ton of merch. Yeah, I thought you were talking about just in general horror toy icon things. But yeah, it totally makes sense that they would do classic horror monsters as Mad Balls. That's exactly the type of thing that toy would do a good job of wow. It makes sense that they would do classic movie monsters as Mad Balls. That's exactly the type of thing that would look great portrayed in that kind of cartoony freak ball shape. Search Mad Balls horror and you'll eventually see a pic with your safe search filter on. They're pretty cool. Okay. I will look at some point with my safe search filter on. I'm just going to say this now. I don't know what it might be, but I've been on the internet since I was like 11 years old. And I will tell you right now, do not Google the phrase Mad Balls in any way, shape, or form without safe search on, or you are likely to regret it. That's just my natural instinct as a digital native, as a millennial who has spent way too much time on the internet unsupervised as a child. I'm just letting you know. My insides are telling me that's a bad idea. I don't know how I want to shape this shadow here. This is one of those places where I'm like, the fist is a little weirdly shaped. I want it to have a little shadow here, but I also kind of want to have an implied shape of the wrist. Actually, that's not bad. Come up here and reshape the light. That's not too bad. That works. I gotta scroll back up. I missed some chat. I mean, in this day and age, who doesn't have an action figure? That's true. Well, yes and no. The horror balls were made by Nika and were technically a ripoff of the Mad Balls, but that is really splitting hairs as a pop culture, bypassing my spam filter for my PG-13 live stream. Or maybe my automod did that. I don't know. It could have. Twitch does weird stuff. Oh, really? Man, I hate when people rip off products like that. I don't know anything about getting products ripped off. Okay, let's see. I don't know. I'm feeling a little let down by this drawing. Not because I feel like I did a bad job on it. I just feel like it's not quite meeting the expectations of what I was trying to do going into this project. I don't know exactly how I want to address that, remedy that situation yet. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good dude. Like, if we were doing any other, like, I'm just gonna draw an animal dude doing an animal dude thing, I would love this animal dude. This is a pretty good little animal dude. I think I had built up this like really awesome thing in my head for doing Garbage Pail Kids style art, and I think what I'm just realizing is it's a lot like I did last month. I did the same thing with the art print, with trying really hard to do there are things that are outside of my skill set at this point in time. And I just, it makes me sad. It makes me sad that I have limitations as a human being. It makes me sad that I'm mortal. I don't want to be mortal. Being mortal is for suckers. I want to be a super awesome god. I think I'm going to put some shading here on this chin. Yeah. I don't like that either. I do want to kind of just imply that there's some shape here, but I don't know how exactly I want to do that. Maybe some real subtle shape like that. I'll time myself out. Don't get me started on the Bob Ross mess. Bob Ross mess. Oh man, did you know that you can't mod yourself into a timeout? I hadn't attempted. I'm not surprised. Like, it makes sense that you wouldn't have access to the mod rights for your own account. You wouldn't be able to moderate yourself. That way you wouldn't do it accidentally, or like you wouldn't be able to give yourself extra privileges or anything. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense that they would code that in. I was joking anyway. That word is definitely PG-13 allowed. Because on YouTube, we were PG-13, like 2000s PG-13. And on Twitch, we're 1980s PG-13. I'm allowed to drop one F-bomb a week. And I'm saving that crap up for when I need it. All right, what do you guys think? What do you think of this? What are you feeling here with this meerkat? Maybe we didn't do enough world building. Maybe that's what the problem is. Because really, I just drew a meerkat who wants to go to the gym and work out. And the Bob Ross mess is how anything sold with his likeness doesn't go to the Ross family. It goes to someone else who sues for it. Something like that. Oh, yeah. Art licensing. Oh, man. Let me You're right. Let's not get started. Let's not get started on the ridiculous, just insane licensing front of like all of the creative industries. How all of the creative industries are predatory industries designed entirely to steal from creatives to empower people who are not creative. It's there is no better representation of the bad side of capitalism than creative. The music industry is by far the worst, just by far the worst. It does because it has the weakest. It doesn't have any union. Like there's not a good, strong musicians. There are musicians. They suck. They suck butts. But the music industry is by far the worst, and but all of the creative industry. I like him. I had to restrain myself from attempting another merely pun. He's merely a meerkat going to the gym. Workout Wally is currently the top contender for a name, but I think we will hold off on naming him entirely for now. I think we'll wait until we get all of the art done, and then maybe we'll go on the Discord. And if you're not on the Discord, you definitely want to join the Discord because you can hang out with the cool kids on the Taco and Viking and Friends Discord server, and we'll come up with names for them there. Well, that's where we'll work. But this we're gonna call this guy basically done. I think he looks good. He's definitely not bad work. Like I said, I just feel like I've done something in this art that is making me feel like I'm not living up to the thing in my brain, but I still like it. Like this is if I was not doing the specific thing I was trying to do, I would be very happy with this. I'm gonna stop focusing on the negative though, and I'm gonna spin for the next sticker. The music didn't play. That means there we go. Gila monster becomes an accountant. For those of you who are wondering why a Gila monster becomes an accountant is on this wheel, blame Leo. It's his fault. All of these were brainstormed on the live stream on Monday night. We were having a good time brainstorming the live stream. And I'm glad. Here's the thing. I looked up some reference art for Gila monster just now. And I'm really glad I did. Because I was 100% sure that a Gila monster was the type that had the big thing on its neck and like ran on water. No negatives or you have to drink. That's right. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong about that. A Gila monster is a little red and or orange and black spotty lizard that lives in the desert. They're kind of cute little spotty alligator critters. I made a suggestion after Leo, but I don't remember what it was. Well, like 3 of the 5 things on the list are your suggestions. So like, let's get that. There were suggestions out there. There were other things. I'm just saying, if you're wondering why Gila monster, it was his suggestion. It was Leo's suggestion. Leo wanted a Gila monster accountant, so that's what we're working on. So right now, the Gila monster is not an accountant. He's working to become an accountant. His New Year's resolution is to finish school and take his CPA exams. So that's what we got to draw. We got to draw an image that implies that this Gila monster is working towards becoming a CPA. And I think one of the ways we want to do that is we're going to have him studying, right? have the Gila monster studying for the CPA exams. So maybe we oops, that is not the pencil I thought I was on. I want that pencil. Start with a little bit of a desk. Right? Start with having a Gila monster sitting at a desk. Let's sketch that in first. Right off the bat, little desk. Big old stack of papers, I think. Okay, this is I'm quick sketching this in, but it's already bothering me that the perspective is off. He's not a monster, he's just misunderstood. Okay. It was gonna drive me insane that the perspective was not where I wanted on this drawing, like from the beginning. So I'm just going to go ahead and reset some things here. We'll do a big old stack of papers on the desk. See, a Gila monster has kind of a flat head. Do like a flat head. This coming down. Some little eyes there. These things are cute, actually. And their eyes are on the side of their head. This is weird. These are kind of weird looking lizards. They're weird for lizards. That implies that there's something that eats these dudes. And that's terrifying. It's always terrifying when I find out that lizards are not the top of the food pyramid. Or food pyramid. The food chain. The word I was looking for was chain. I'm gonna start here. And little boopy snake nose. They're like a cross between a snake and an alligator, but they live in the desert and have orange spots. Because they also have a little snake tongue. So we'll do that. Actually, oh. You know what? Studying. So tongue out to the side, concentration tongue. Concentration tongue out to the side. Gotta have that concentration tongue going on. So that means mouth down here. And I just want to loop around. I might have to turn this one sideways and do like landscape mode. I guess I didn't know exactly the name the lizard you thought he was. It looks like a lizard, frilled lizard, or a frilled neck lizard, or even a frilled dragon. It's especially disturbing when something that should be predatory has prey physiology and is venomous. Right. I'm not entirely sure what the one I'm thinking of is either. They're the little dudes, they stand up on their hind legs. You know, like something like this. This is basically how they're shaped. That's what I was thinking of. That's what I was thinking of as a Gila monster. It's not a Gila monster. That's what was going on in my head. So maybe the legs like this. And coming back. I definitely think I'm going to change this to a oops. Rotate this whole image so we don't lose anything. And then And here's the thing here. Oh, there we go. Switch to a landscape. And this is something else. Is I definitely, when I was looking at Garbage Pail Kids stickers earlier, there are definitely some that were landscape. But yeah, not only does he have this kind of like lizards are should be predators. In my brain, lizards should always be predators. Like, let's face it, if something eats the only living dinosaurs, it's terrible. They got claw hands. In addition to, that's an Australian frilled lizard. Okay. You know what? I should have known it was something Australian because the reason I can always remember how to draw them is when I was a kid. I cannot remember the name of this show either. It was on Nickelodeon during the day. So it was one of those shows that I only ever saw when I was home from school sick. But like, it was about two kids that went to a magic place with koalas, and they had to wear koala masks because if anyone found out they were human, they'd get in trouble. Can't remember the name of that show, but that show had one of those curly lizard dudes. Okay, so let's give him glasses. Nothing says I'm studying for an exam like wearing glasses, right? Right? And then maybe a big cozy cardigan. Like, I'm pretty sure this dude is going to night school to become a CPA. Maybe even to my alma mater, Western Governors University. What do we think of this pose? Is this a good pose? I feel like, I don't know, I'm torn. Actually, I'm really proud of the fact that I've drawn a fairly accurate Gila monster shape here. But it's not like my traditional anthropomorphic animal creature. And I don't know how you guys are feeling about it. I'm checking in with the audience. Let's take a poll. How you guys feeling? How's everybody doing? Is everybody having a good night? You having a good Friday night? Are you keeping it real? Are you chilling? Are you relaxing? Are you just vibing out there? It's okay to vibe. I hope you're having a great time. I'm not gonna lie. The first time my brain ran over the words, that's an Australian frilled lizard, I thought it said that's an Australian fried chicken. And I thought you were making a joke about Australian people eating lizards. I do think that obviously needs an adding machine. Ooh, 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 ooh. You know what everyone needs when they're an accountant? A little green visor. All accountants are required by law to wear a little green visor. Sharks are older than dinosaurs, but they don't stop growing until they die. And some scientists believe there could be sharks that are more than 1,000 years old living in the depths of the ocean that would be larger than most whales. No lizard is ever going to scare me as much as the idea of immortal killing machines lurking in our ocean. I wish you could put a pencil in his mouth like he's thinking, but he's really cute like this too. Well, that's what I gave him, thinking tongue. I've got his tongue out like he's thinking. If we give him thinking tongue and a pencil in his mouth, that might be too much. But you know what? We can sketch it in and see what it looks like. So like that might be a little too much. I don't know. What do you think? You know what else we could do? instead of in his mouth, we can put it up here behind his ear. His ear. I just like stack. I like drawing a good stack of papers. So, I know that you're terrified of sharks, although you shouldn't be because scientists are wrong about sharks. There are no giant sharks in the bottom of the ocean. We know that because there is an immortal killing machine that lives in our oceans, and it's not sharks. Sharks are not the immortal monsters that live in our ocean. Have you ever done a little bit of research into how to kill a jellyfish? Sharks might be ageless killing monsters, but you can kill a shark. When I say pencil, I mean being held in a hand. Oh, pencil to his mouth. I thought I read that as pencil in his mouth. Well, let's see what we can come up with. So we would need a hand here and a pencil coming out of it. So we could definitely bend this arm up like this. We can't see where that arm was going anyway. So we could definitely do that. So this paw here could come up here and be all of a sudden it's a pencil holding hand. You know, just pencil up against the mouth. So anyway, where I was going with that little space was like, you can't kill jellyfish. If you try, they report back to Cthulhu and you have nightmares for the rest of forever. Yeah, held in his hand but tapping his mouth. I like that. So I can do a little hand here. Obviously, since this is still all sketched in, it's not super visible exactly what I'm putting together there. But I think I like the idea. Because that implies that he isn't just standing at this desk, that he is working at this desk. Maybe a little desk, little feet come over here, like hide his other feet, unhide his other feet. Yeah, that's where I was going. Jellyfish cannot be killed. You can kill a shark. You can defeat a shark. A shark can be beaten in combat. You can get it to bite down on the oxygen tank and then blow it up. Can you visualize the overall thinking pose though? Pencil and thinking tongue. Plus thinking tongue. Yes, I think I can. The idea would be also that the eyes need to be pointed this way. So let me get into actual like sketch territory and do a little detail sketch. And we'll figure out what we can do. Show layer. Clear. So let's actually get to sketching in some details here and see if we can't make this. So I'm going to start the most fun way, which is a tongue out. So we got thinking tongue off on one side. And then we'll put the eye here and draw pupils facing up this direction. You know, because he's off in thought. When you think up and to the left. But you are going to need a bigger boat. Fair enough. You will need a bigger boat to defeat a giant shark, but you can, in fact, defeat the giant shark. And then we'll bring the glasses back. Go ahead and make big. Oh. Hang on. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to like do a little wireframe on these glasses. Coming over here. There. Like that. And I have a little visor. And I have this little ridge here that's like an ear ridge, but not an ear. It's not an ear. Don't draw an ear in there, Matt. Have that visor come up over the top of it. And then down here, we will draw in this pencil. In this direction. I really only drew that circle in so I would know where I was drawing with my reference of the glasses. Thank you. I like them too. It just makes him feel nerdy. And then I need Gila monster foot back. So we'll come in here. Spike fingers again. So many creatures in nature just have spiky shaped fingers. Let's face it, humans need spike hands. And Gila monster, like this one from the San Diego Zoo, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers on their hands. Good for Gila monsters having the right number of fingers. So a lot of the implication of this pencil will have to be from the color of it being pencil colored, because it's going to be mostly under the hand. Although we can make some adjustments probably to the desk line, bring it down a little. Have room for that pencil. And then bring this adding machine over. That's not a good ribbon. Over here. There you go. Down and up. Down and up. Go. Bring that there. Have that adding machine implication. And then shoulder. Coming over here and just sketching. Cardigan. And bring the chin underneath that pencil. There's no chance there's a pangolin on the animal list, is there? No, there is not. The animals on the list. We have a hippo who is going to nursing school to become a nurse. We have a platypus who is learning an instrument. A kangaroo learning ballroom dancing. The Gila monster becoming an accountant, and a meerkat who wants to go to the gym. Although I'm realizing relatively Australian heavy this time on the animals, which is fine. Like, it was unintended and not fully consistent. Not all of those are Australian animals, obviously, but an interesting observation that people were in a little down under mood this month with their critters. Pangolin is, if I am correct in what I think it is, those are like an armadillo kind of esque creature. The thing I would know it from is it's the creature that a Sandslash is based on from Pokemon, right? Like that's what I'm thinking of there. Is that the right creature? Maybe add a pangolin practicing mindful meditation to the wheel for me. I can add that to the random wheel of requests. Yes. A pangolin practicing mindful meditation. We can add that to the wheel. It's not. These are the Patreon stickers for January. Is what we're working on right now. And the idea was, like I said, it was their New Year's resolutions for animals, and then the print to go with January's sticker set is a motivational poster. And I think we settled in on lead the stampede. Premeditated pangolin. Oh. When they stand up, they always look like they are praying. Oh, okay. We're gonna make a motivational poster that says "Lead the Stampede." I think we decided to go with. I'm actually gonna have to go back and watch the VOD because my notes are not fully fleshed out on that. I just wrote down "Lead the Stampede." I can't remember what creature is stampeding that we decided on. We talked about a lot of different stuff. We talked about like one of the possible motivational posters that we talked about, and I might still do it as a not related to the Patreon, but just as a poster design, as a print design for the Taco Viking merch store, would be lemmings jumping off of a cliff that's just like dive in. He's eating himself off the cliff. Okay, so here I've come up with a problem. This arm is way smaller than this arm. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to fix that, make some changes. The easiest way to make that change is going to be making the bigger arm smaller. Which isn't like not the end of the world, just is a thing I was observing mostly. That was not me saying I'm bad at art, so you can't take a drink. That's fine, just when you get back to doing wheel spins, because I think it would be cute. I think so too. So I'm just gonna shrink this whole paw down. Do lizards have paws? Lizards just flat out have claws, right? They have claws. I'm gonna shrink this whole claw down to make it fit more in line with the pencil hand. That might be a little too small now. There is a solution to make this work, to make sure I have the right size. Duplicate. Bring you over here. Bring you over here where I can kind of see you as a reference. So now I can see that as a reference, so I can go finger 1, 2, 3, finger 4. There we go. Now my mind is whirling and I want to see you do a whole series of Dresden characters as animals. That would be pretty cool. Something about taking charge of your life, like the lead the stampede at your risk of being trampled. I really need to reread the Dresden Files. I do too, because there's probably a new book coming out soon, which of course led me to wondering whether Dresden Files would work better with characters from Tailspin or Rescue Ranger. Oh, just like the pre-existing characters, because those are both Disney properties, which means they'd just be Disney style characters, and you can ask, but it would be easier to ask yourself what animal would be best for each character. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get pushback for this, but Harry is pretty obviously a stork, right? Like that feels right. Harry is a stork. Although Harry as a meerkat could work too, because tall, skinny. The way I just did that other meerkat, I could see that meerkat wearing a trench coat and carrying a staff would be Harry Dresden. Mouse and Mister just get to stay a cat and a dog. Okay, this looks pretty good. I actually like this quite a bit. This is a good looking little dude. It's made me happy. And I think once I do the line art, it'll look really good. You know what I mean? Like the pre-existing characters, kind of like how they took a bunch of characters from Jungle Book to make Tailspin. Yeah. So like, you're talking if they Mickey Mouseified it, right? Like, that's how Disney does a lot of stuff. Disney and the Muppets for that matter. Like the Muppets would do like, oh, this character is obviously going to be Kermit. I think you would go full Gila is hella cool. Awesome. I'm glad. I think you would want to go full Disney verse. Like, I don't think you would necessarily pick one specific Disney show. You would do like Disney does and go, okay, of all of the Disney verse, which of these characters works best? Because I think you got to mix and match some stuff. You know? I think that's what you got to do ultimately. Like, I think if you're going just like Disney movie mashup, that's one thing. Like, Tailspin is a Disney movie mashup. It was, what if we took these characters specifically? Dresden himself, yeah, basically, Muppet Dresden would be awesome, but yes, Harry is the only human in the movie. Everyone else is played by a Muppet. So, right off the bat, that one's easy. Because you know what Muppet characters get cast into what general roles based on their relationship to Kermit. Although it is weird that we're not making Kermit Dresden. But it's okay because obviously Kermit is then Michael Carpenter, right? Like, we can agree on that. Not sure how I want to do this tongue strain. Uh, do you think that Miss Piggy would play Murphy? Dresden Fraggle Rock. I don't know enough about Fraggle Rock. It's my weakness. My weakness in pop culture. My pop cultural weakness is Fraggle Rock. Because Fraggle Rock was on cable in a time when we didn't have cable. So I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what you're saying right to. Fraggle Rock is so good. I have just vague memories of Fraggle Rock. I might have just been a little young also for Fraggle Rock. But I remember like the great trash heap has spoken. Yeah. And Dozer's Fraggles I was honestly I was right there with you with Gonzo as Thomas. That was definitely what was going on in my head. I know that Fraggles eat radishes and that Dozers build all of the stuff they build out of radishes so that the Fraggles will eat all of the stuff they build so they can rebuild it. Like, they have a symbiotic relationship. Because Dozer's got a doze. Piggy as Murphy seems pretty good, though Piggy as Charity would work well too. Especially, yeah, Piggy as Charity with Kermit as Michael. And obviously, just before we get too far down this road, Sam the Eagles Morgan, that works for me. That works very well for me. Obviously, Fozzie Bear is Waldo Butters. Obviously, right? Like, that goes without saying. Like, we were all already thinking that. I feel like that's a given. And then along those same lines, oh, what is his last? Billy, the werewolf. Does that make Rizzo Toot Toot? Maybe that's a definite possibility. Like, I wouldn't rule that out. But Rolf would definitely be Billy Borden. Oh, William Borden. What is his last name? Am I thinking of a different character? You guys know who I'm talking about. But they would do that because he's a werewolf and Rolf's a dog. Rolf is a dog, not Ralph. Rolf. That's how the Muppets roll. They don't put too terribly much thought into things like that. 100% on Fozzie, right? Like, not even like there's no debate there. If you tried to debate that, I would kick you out of the stream. Waldo Butters is my favorite character. Sorry if that makes anyone sad. Butters is my favorite character, and his level of badass that he takes in Skin Game is just mwah, chef's kiss. Pure perfection. Gila Monster, you've got a nose like this. The belly. Let's draw this desk. Rolf is Mac. Oh, that also works. That works. Character. So this is character wise. That works really well. But I feel like lazy Muppet writing wise, that's not what they would do. But I guess if we're the ones making the Dresden Muppet movie, we get to do whatever we want. We're not beholden to Jim Henson's lazy writing. Too on the nose to make him a werewolf. You're right, and there is a better character in the Muppets to fill the role of, like, fill his role, fill Will's role in the group, because you got Scooter. And if you're telling me that the Scooter vibes aren't there, I'm like, I don't know what book you're reading. um Now I said Fozzie for Butters because that's, like, if I'm being honest, we're talking about my favorite Muppet and my favorite character in the book series. But let's face it, Butters is as close to a scientist as you get in the Dresden Files. So it's really more likely that the role Butters plays would be played by Bunsen and Beaker. Like, they would have Bunsen and Beaker playing. And of course, a big part of this also is, at what point in the series does the Muppet Dresden Files movie take place? Now I want two Muppets to play that role, Scooter as the human and Sweetums as the wolf. Oh, yeah. The only problem is that when he turns into a wolf, he turns into a wolf. Like, not like full on, not like werewolf, man wolf. Although the Loop Guru is a man wolf. But that would be great. Kind of an Incredible Hulk level vibe there. All of these papers need to go this way. Paper stacks. Oops, I need to turn down the smoothing. Because you're going to want to have this going on. I'm running out of Muppets just off the top of my head. It makes me feel bad because I'm a fairly well knowledgeable Muppet person. But, like, when you start just, like, trying to fill, here's the problem: is when you're just trying to sit down while drawing and fan cast a Dresden Files movie with Muppets, you kind of need to be able to remember both the what characters are in the Dresden Files and what Muppets exist, and then have to match them up while drawing. So I'm not making excuses so much as giving myself a break for being like, man, why can't I remember more Muppets right now? So here's the weird thing is there's not enough female Muppets. There are so many women in the cast of the Dresden Files, and not nearly enough lady Muppets. That's a serious issue with Muppet movies in general, I feel. I'm having a hard time coming up with another great female Muppet, so I guess Molly has to be Janice. Swedish Chef, Statler and Waldorf, Dr. Honeydew and Beaker. Sue was in the band. For Shirley. Yeah, that's one of those things where you're like, man, if Miss Piggy and Kermit are the Carpenters, then that's like, Molly has to be another pig person. Because in Muppet World, when a pig and a frog have children, all of the genders of the children match the gender, the species of the child matches the gender of the parent. That was Janice. Yes. Janet. No, Janice. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. One of my favorite bands of all time. Aurora Borealis, shining down in Dallas. Can you picture that? And the Dresden Files as a series has such a huge cast of recurring characters. And so many good. Oh, we have not said that's, yeah, Camilla the chicken has to be the queen of air and darkness. That's true. I mean, did you say animal yet? We have not said animal yet. There's a lot of good characters for so I was thinking when we were talking again, because oftentimes Statler and Waldorf are used in place of together as a pair in place of a single character in Muppet movies. So Statler and Waldorf in place of the Merlin. There was another female pig named Annie Sue. That's who do you cast as Animal for? Because Animal is such a uniquely great character. Animal. Kincaid. Oh. Okay. What do you guys think of the Gila monster right now? Wait, what does this guy look? How are you thinking? I think he's cute. I think he looks great. He's got his little pencil up against his lip. Math. He's the math Gila monster. I'm just going to add some. I've just figured out what I was missing on my Meerkat, and it's something I can definitely go back and still fix. I never went in and added dynamic sizing on the line. The line weight was static, and so the lines were feeling. That's what I missed. That was what was wrong with the Meerkat. I'll have to go through and take some of my time, take some Saturday time, and add some dynamic sizing, dynamic line weight to that character. Just to flesh it out a little bit more, give it a little bit more solidity. Once you start doing it, you can't go back. If Fozzie wasn't going to be Butters, we can make him the Blackstaff. Actually, yeah, let's do that. We'll make Fozzie the Blackstaff. We'll make him the Blackstaff McCoy, and then that lets us put Bunsen and Beaker in as Waldo Butters. They make a great backup there. Just would feel good in that role. I feel like there's like a bunch of characters that the Swedish Chef could just be subbed in as. Not necessarily because the Swedish Chef fits the role, but because the character like is a plot device, and just having the Swedish Chef in that role would just be hilarious. Like a member of the White Council Senior Council. You know, just sub in the Swedish Chef right there. Just put him in there. Or again, like depending on when you're at in the book series, you get such a different type of cast because it's like early in the series, Harry's still a low level hitter. He's still a thug. And most of the cast would be relatively local Chicago like related characters. Like early on, you got Bianca, the Shadow Man, Rollins, and what's his name? The jerk cop, Murphy's ex-husband. Those are two different characters, by the way. The jerk cop and Murphy's, who's also a jerk cop, but he's a jerk fed. And then later in the series, as Harry becomes kind of a big player, like, see, this is I love these book series because I'm like, who would you have play Los? Yeah, who plays Carlos? I have always loved Beaker. Me, 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 me. I also love. I like Bunsen and Beaker in general too. Fozzie's my fave though. I'm not gonna lie. I also love Animal. I mean, and I'm not gonna say I don't love Kermit. I mean, how a monster doesn't love Kermit T. Frog? Kermit T. Frog here. Who are we casting as Marcone? Maybe he'd be human too. Yeah, because you don't really have that many criminals in the Muppet family. Because like you don't want Marcone to be the dude that blows things up. You don't want to use the terrorist Muppet there. Which, by the way, can we just point out how messed up it is that legitimately one of the like recurring characters in the Muppet franchise the last 60 years is just flat out a terrorist. That's messed up. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of racism involved in that character too. There might be a reason the Muppets are best remembered nostalgically. Oh man. But if you're going to cast Marcone as a human, you need to cast a human that can both reliably play like a sinister mob boss, but also is definitely Crazy Harry. Yeah. But definitely is also a living Muppet. Like, if you're going to cast Marcone in a Muppet Dresden Files movie, I'm casting a regular person. I'm casting Christopher Walken. Let's face it, Christopher Walken could definitely have like does not fit the character in my head. I'm gonna start with that. Like this is not who I would cast in a serious Dresden Files movie, obviously. But I can 100% buy him as a mob boss, and he can bring the wacky energy that you would need to be in a Muppet movie. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be their pyrotechnician who just got caught in one too many blasts and has some brain damage. Maybe. Benefit of the doubt. benefit of the doubt. How far into the Henson verse can we go here? Because the Muppets are a specific set of Henson shop workshop creatures. But sometimes the Muppet movies reach beyond just the Muppet roster, and they do go into the full bench to get some Sesame Street creatures, some Sesame Street players on occasion. Not very often. Normally, they stay separated on account of the Sesame Street gang is intended for children, and the Muppet gang is intended for adults or older children. I really want to be played by a late 80s Tim Curry, but I would rather settle for Farhan Tahir, even though it makes no sense for him to be an Italian descent. He would make the amazing Marcone like this. I'm not entirely sure who that is. I probably will recognize them once I Google them. But modern celebrities, I don't know. Went too long without being able to see. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, yeah. He would be really, really good. So here's the thing about this. So this is an actor I would cast to play a serious version of Marcone. Maybe even changing the character background to be less Italian stereotype, because just the energy is so good here. You know what I mean? And really, like, again, very serious, would play the role perfectly in a serious movie. Just with a different, maybe a little bit different background. Actually, you know what? I don't want to cast Farhan Tahir as a John Marcone, because this man should be Lex Luthor. This is the Lex Luthor we need in the world. Let's see, where am I at? Okay. Henson is also Labyrinth and Dark Crystal if needing more characters. That's true. Although, generally speaking, when the Muppet movies go off the bench, they only go to Sesame Street characters. They do not go to other Henson work characters. There is a very limited number of Muppets on Sesame Street and Muppet Show that are allowed to cross over. I think Kermit and Big Bird may be the only one. So that's possible. I feel like Oscar the Grouch also has some crossover. I think I would have him play in a Deadly Serious and never even think it was weird that there were Muppet characters at all. Yes, he would be a perfect Lex Luthor. Like, it's impossible for it to be true, because like his active years and fame, I guess it could be, because really got his start on TV in the late 80s. But I was like, the Lex Luthor from the Superman animated series, the Bruce Timm Superman cartoon, looks like this dude, like looks like him. And I've definitely seen him in enough roles where he brings that energy. I don't know. There is two schools of thought here on a Muppet movie, is that you play it straight and just let the fact that the Muppets are exist be its own thing. Like you just concede that to the universe. But I'm not sure I like, if you're doing something, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to see the table read. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to bring him in and put him at a table and see how well he plays off of really whatever Muppet ends up playing guard or Hendrix. Because that's going to be a big deal. Like you're gonna have to have a chemistry read is the term I'm looking for there. A chemistry read with the Muppets to just see how well it feels. Again, not because I don't think he could do the role perfectly, but because I don't know if the vibe of having Marcone played straight in a Muppet Dresden Files movie would work for me. I would have to get a feel for it. It's the difference between Christmas Carol and Treasure Island, right? I would have to really feel that one out. There would be some experimentation. Like I personally like I said, I would cast just right off the top of my head, Christopher Walken would be perfect as it. You see Christopher Walken as a guy who could definitely be an evil mob boss. But also he has chaotic energy and would really work well on screen as a Muppet or in a Muppet movie. I have a hard time believing that all these years have passed and Christopher Walken hasn't appeared in a Muppet movie at all. Sweetums would make a great Hendrix. Definitely. You just have a bunch of characters like, if we're gonna just embrace the chaos, you just have a bunch of characters played by Sweetums, just in general. The Earl King, Sweetums. All of the Einherjaren, Sweetums. The Skinwalker, Sweetums. I don't like theory. Sometimes the lines are too crap. Those were not related thoughts. Sometimes the lines are too thick, and also crap, I didn't close that in. Oh man, Muppets. Muppet. And honestly, I know that a lot of people did not like the Dresden Files TV show for a bunch of reasons, but I can see Willem Dafoe as Marcone also. Yes, the same thing. He's a serious actor who can play serious, terrifying characters, but also has the chaotic personal energy of a Muppet. I know a lot of people didn't like the Dresden Files TV show, and there was a lot of good reasons for it. It was very different. That being said, Paul Blackthorne was great as Harry. Paul Blackthorne was a great casting choice. And it would be hard to find someone who could do that role better. Just throw that out there. Like, Paul Blackthorne was a great choice. Like, I loved him in the Dresden Files. I liked the show enough. I liked the show too, especially what I liked about the show was that they knew that what they wanted to do with the books, or what they could do with what you could do with a TV show at that point, this is pre Game of Thrones, would never live up to the books. So they flat out said, let's take similar concepts as the books and make a new thing. And I liked it, but I think the problem with that is too many people. First of all, the problem with that show was that it was on the Sci-Fi Network, and not enough people just knew about it in general. But when you are adapting a book series like that, you really, like, the fan base is rabid, like they're maniacal for their purity, and you never know what pieces they're going to want the purity of. And I think it's the same thing that the Wheel of Time TV show tried to do. They went, we know we can't do the books the justice, so we're going to tell our own story inspired by this. And although I think that show got a lot of negative publicity and negative review, but it got review bombed before it ever came out. And a lot of the things that people said was bad about it were not the things that they should have been complaining about. I think they executed poorly on their concept. That said, I never watched the second season at all. I only watched the first season. And they didn't deliver a product that felt right. He was great, and the show was underrated because it wasn't an HBO show that could recreate the books on the screen. It wasn't great, but it was a valiant effort, and I'll stand on this till I die, better than the Wheel of Time at adapting source material. Wait, backtracking. Sprocket the dog, I love him. Oh. I'm apparently the stream is lagging far enough behind that Paramon's typing in my thoughts before they get to the stream. Sprocket's Muppet has appeared on both Sesame Street and The Muppet Show. There you go. So here's the question. Is that Mouse or is that Billy as a werewolf? That's what you got to ask yourself. Mouse is a better character. I feel like you could just modify Scooter into being furry and get away with that in this make. Yeah, I am a person who believes that when adapting anything, when making an adaptation, when adapting a pre-existing story into a new medium, the important thing is the feel of the story. So, like, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings is not an accurate adaptation of the source material. A lot of cuts were made for time and budget. You just can't flat out put everything into it. Some pretty big chunks of plot were taken, were gotten rid of. And there was a lot of changes made to the story just to make it fit as a movie. You know, when you get rid of characters and subplots, you have to work important elements of those things back into it in different ways. That means more changes. But what it did correctly, was that it felt like Lord of the Rings. It had the right feel to it. And that is why it's beloved. The Harry Potter movies are very similar. The Harry Potter movies and the books are not the same. Like the plot line is very different. The characters behave very differently. There's huge, huge changes between the books and the movies. But they have the same feeling to them. And that's why they work. And I really enjoyed the Dresden Files show. But I have to admit, they did not feel the same. Mostly because the books, especially at the time, we're still pretty early in the series as far as when the show came out. The Dresden Files was still very noir, and the TV show is very police procedural, which again is up my alley. I love a police procedural, but it's not the same feel as what the books had. The books were very heavily noir. And that was the problem with the Wheel of Time also. The Wheel of Time, in its adaptation, it changed the plot, and that's fine. And they had good reason, like it even fits with the universe of the world that it would be different, right? The different turning of the wheel. But it never felt like Wheel of Time. And what's crazy to me is the things that it got like razzed on by the review bombers. The anti-woke review bombers mostly was the stuff where they stuck too close to the books for what was going on in the story. Like the things that it got blamed for being bad on was the stuff that were too taken from the book until the end of the first season. Like it definitely eventually, like people started criticizing it for legit reasons because it was just poorly written. But the casting and performances weren't too bad. Although some of those actors, I think they were doing their best with what they could with what they. There we go. That feels so much better with the thick dynamic lines than what the Meerkat had going on with the flat lines. I'm gonna have to fix the Meerkat's line. But this is good line art here. This makes me happy. So let's color him in. And the thing with Gila monsters is that they've got like a orange and black spotty kind of pattern. So we'll start by just doing a dark tone on the Gila monster bits. And that pattern actually rings all the way around. I did not need to draw in that little line to mark the belly from the back. So we'll start with that. Add you there. And let's do the pinks next. The little pink. Actually, their tongues are actually black. So I'm putting this out there right now. I know that the Gila monster's tongue is black. I'm aware. I'm going to make it pink anyway to make it stand out. Complete side note, I love that Doc from Fraggle Rock is a very expressive bartender in Boondock Saints. Oh, Boondock Saints. That's a movie I haven't watched in a really long time. I'm afraid that's a movie I need to go back and rewatch because I'm not 100% sure if it would hold up. I want that same pink be used on the eraser for the pencil. And go a little metal. Take this yellow and desaturate it to do that part. I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna do a pastel green on this desk. In my mind, this desk is like one of those old metal desks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Vern? I really think you're pretty cool looking dude, you accountant. I don't know what color to make his little sweater. So I think what I'll do before I color in the sweater, come in here and I'll grab an orange, and we'll start doing the little rings. Oops, little ring. Definitely ring around the Gila monster. Have little tiny elongated black rings inside their orange rings. So yeah, back when they had colors like avocado and mustard. That's actually so if you look behind me, you'll notice that the couch is gone from the Garoffice. There's a new room in town, and it has the napping couch now. So one of the things I'm hoping to do as we do the remodel stuff is eventually get some new like first update my streaming setup and my desk setup, and then probably get a new piece of furniture. And I'm torn because having a napping couch is always nice. It's good to have a napping couch. But what I really love, this is one of my weird little idiosyncrasies. I am a big fan of like mid-century like club lounges. And I would really like to get like a mid-century club chair or a pair of mid-century club chairs. But then I don't have a napping couch, right? Like then I don't have a place to nap. So I don't know. I'm torn on what I should do there. All right, come on, Gila monster face. Let's see. I've got it above. I'm looking. I just pulled up a top-down view of a Gila monster head to kind of figure out how to do this orange pattern on the head. And here's the thing that's kind of cool about this thing this Gila monster I'm looking at. The image shows like how protruding their scales are. Like Gila monster scales are like little balls. They're like they got little round lumpy scales that just look cool. They're a cool look. They're a cool look, Gila monster. So go like that. That's fun. I think that looks good. What about on the face? The underside of his chin is definitely still dark colored. Has some ring action down here that actually looks like a little ring of rings on the neck. So that's what I'm going to draw in now. I'm going to draw in a little ring of neck ring. For a little bit of funsies there. Like that. And then they've got their cool ring patterns going all the way down their chests. So we'll do a little fun ring pattern down the chest. We go. Oh, yeah. Down. And I would say, going back to the conversation about bad adaptations that don't really understand the source material. The Hobbit. Peter Jackson ruined The Hobbit by trying to cram too much stuff into it. And that worked for like the guy who wanted to do Lord of the Rings, but like it didn't work for The Hobbit because The Hobbit is supposed to be a children's story. It's supposed to be simple. Keep it simple, Peter Jackson. All right, there we go. He looks good. He's a good-looking Gila monster. Let's give him some shadows. Desaturated shadows. I'm actually gonna come up here and do like a little bit of rim light kind of shading on the visor. And the reason I want to do that is because I feel like the visor is translucent. It's like the closer to the edge you get, the more translucent it becomes. That's my thought anyway of why that would be shaded like that. I know it's not like a great genius thought, but it's just what I was thinking. Just what I was. Little shaded area around the eye because it's inside a little recessed bit. This. This. Loop that up inside the nostril. Loop you up inside the nostril. Yeah, that looks good. Good looking Gila monster shadow. Actually, where? Do it even. Boop. Come down here. This. Back around. Bring it back now. Bring it back now tonight. Yeah. Woo. So, I decided to finish out the year. I think I've already talked about this a little bit. I decided to finish out the year doing the daily zombie in a bunch of different like cartoon animation styles. And I have a list all ready to go. But I just want to throw this out there. If anyone has a specific animation style they think they would like to see the daily zombie drawn in, go ahead and like toss it to me. Like throw it my way. I will give it a shot. Today's zombie was from The Simpsons. It was The Simpsons Matt Groening style. Tomorrow's zombie is already drawn in the Klasky Shupo Rugrats style. It's specifically Rugrats because he's drawn to look like Tommy Pickles. But it's the Klasky Shupo style. And I think you guys know how I feel about Klasky Shupo. Love me some Klasky Shupo. But if there is an animation style you think I should check out, that you think I would enjoy, either you think I would enjoy drawing or you would enjoy seeing me draw or attempt to draw, just let me know. I would be happy to give it a shot for you. I'll do my best to make it work. And chances are there's probably might even already be on my list of the things I'm planning on drawing. Everything on my list is actually a Western cartoon this time. There's no anime on the list. And I also did not put any Bruce Timm on the list, just because I've drawn so much Bruce Timm fan art in the past. And I felt like it was time to try something different. And they're style challenges, so I had to run out for a minute to get something for my daughter before she leaves for Texas. Why is she going to Texas? Doesn't she know what they do to people in Texas? Doesn't she know if she goes to Texas, she'll never be allowed to leave again? Sometimes I forget what color I was using for my... There we go. All I was saying, Pearman, was that I'm finishing out the year doing the daily zombie in different styles based on different cartoons, and doing them all as they're all Western style cartoons. So if you have a cartoon style you would like to see me try, I would be happy to give it a shot. I think it's a lot of fun to do a challenge like that. I think that's why it's so popular in the art community. She and Parker are going to Texas for a conference. Well, Parker will be fine. Okay. What am I doing here? I gotta finish up these shading. It is already 10 o'clock. You must not be streaming tonight. It's already 10 o'clock. Oh, let's finish this guy up. We can call it a stream. There we go. I'm going to call that Gila Monstered. Boo-doo-boo-boo-doo-boo. So, thank you for coming and hanging out. I hope you had a good time. We pulled off 2 animals making New Year's resolutions. We got the Gila monster here, and we got working out Wally, the meerkat, who's merely getting his groove on. Nope, Sunday through Thursday. I want him to do my taxes. He's not a CPA yet. He's in school. He's taking night classes. But he is cute. He is cute as heck. I like it. I will probably, like I said, now that I realized what it was that was missing, I will probably go back in to Wally, workout Wally the meerkat here, and just add some dynamics to the line art. It just feels so much less flat when you have that dynamic line art. Now that I've started doing it, I can't stop doing it. It just feels too good. It just takes so much longer to do, but I love it. It looks so good. I'm starting to understand why people don't draw 8 illustrations a day. So thank you for coming and hanging out. This is going into the Patreon pack for the January 2025 Patreon. You fix them up real gooder. I'm gonna. I hope you had fun hanging out. I had fun drawing for you. I will be back Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I believe at this point. I'm still waiting to hear what my hours are going to be. So I will post as soon as I know. If my schedule is going to change, I will let everyone know. The best place to find out what the schedule is going to be, the best place to find that information is going to be on the Discord. So join the Discord. You can get that link by typing Discord. Oops, not Discord. Discord into the chat. Get that link. Get that Discord link there. Join the Discord. Come hang out with the cool kids in the Taco Viking and Friends Discord server. If you want to get your hands on your very own Gila monster accountant or working out Meerkat, head over to patreon.com/Taco Viking Studios. Everyone who signs up for the Patreon before the end of January will get these dudes in February. They go out on the 15th of the month following the end of the month. So these will go out on the 15th of February to everyone who has signed up for the Patreon in January. If you sign up in the next 4 days before the end of December, you can get your hands on the Aliens in the Ocean Patreon pack. And I am pulling up that right now. Aliens in the Ocean sticker pack. The chat has less lag for me than the stream. That's how it happens. The chat runs on a text server, and the stream runs on an encoding server. The print, what you see on your screen right now is the print for December. And then underneath that, you can see the 5 stickers for December and the logo for the Patreon for the month. The prints came out beautiful. The colors really look great. I'm really happy with them. The Alien series I love it too. It's a good functionality here. I really think we did a good job with this. So that's what December is. Sign up before December 31st at midnight, or midnight January 1st a.m. 23:59:59 December 31st, 2024 to get your Aliens in the Ocean stickers. Would love to buy the logo on a shirt. I could probably make that happen. Thank you for your support, your continued support. It means the world to me. Getting to draw and do stickers and stuff for all of you. It is what keeps me going in the world, and I really appreciate every single one of you. That said, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for hanging out with me. I've had a great time being here and drawing for you. Again, I will be back Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So go out there into the world. Do something absolutely amazing with your weekend. Spread the joy. Find the love. Fight ignorance. Challenge cruelty. And remember, above all, as always, to stay weird. I'll see you next time. Good night.